Welcome to the Georgia Hour with BKP. Welcome to the Georgia Hour. You know, Diane, I said I had a couple videos that would work on your playlist, but I went ahead and took those videos anyway. I had no stopping points at those videos. I know they were long, but I had no stopping points. I'm your host, BKP. Welcome to the Georgia Hour. Now it's Friday. Wow. Thank God it's Friday. Oh, I was so ready for Friday. It's Friday. Now, here's the thing. Tentatively, you know, Diana, it is tough because sometimes I get to looking here and here and here, and I say Pete Buttigieg when I shouldn't. And then sometimes I look here and here and here, and I say Mike Pence when God knows you should never say that. Now, pronunciation. Tentatively, I think I have that correct, next Wednesday, I'm going to be doing a live broadcast from the Georgia State Capitol under the Gold Dome. I'm working out the details now. I've got to have internet, trying to set up an area where I can work and start setting up some interviews. So I will let you know, hopefully Monday, no later than Tuesday, if 100%, I will be down at the Georgia State Capitol on Wednesday broadcasting there. Now, we are getting into a really hot legislative time. So we started out a couple weeks ago. We asked you to start looking at legislation. Many of you are sending me messages, but it's time. It is time to start breaking down legislation, looking at it, and seeing what's under the hood. And that's now. The budget, we need to go through the budget, look at it, need a lot of people to help us out here. So we will have some updates on that Monday. Hopefully we'll have some legislation by next Wednesday. We could talk to some different lawmakers about down under the Gold Dome. While we were on break, I got an alert that the Trump administration now has the Senate confirmed North Dakota Governor Doug Burgum, remember North Dakota Governor Doug Burgum, as the Interior Secretary. So now that the Interior Secretary, which will actually be involved in energy as the Interior Secretary, he is now confirmed. Monday, my understanding, give me number 58, Diane. My understanding, former Congressman Doug Collins will be confirmed Monday, and it's right here. He is set, I think, for a vote Monday for the Secretary, the Veterans Administration, Secretary, the ready for confirmation. The U.S. agreed to move forward with a vote to make former Georgia U.S. Doug Collins the next Veterans Affairs Secretary. That is supposed to be Monday, so that will be checked off the list. I don't want to say those are the easy ones, but that'll be checked off the list. That's for Monday. Now, before we go much further into some Georgia information, I want to make a statement. Go ahead and take that down if you don't mind, Diane. This is not a determination of right and wrong. This is not, this is not a determination of right and wrong, and this is not a conviction in any way whatsoever on your opinion. you don't have a middle of the road choice. Now, there's a lot of people out there that claim to be grassroots in Georgia. We have a major problem in Georgia with everyone yelling what the grassroots want. The grassroots want this. This is from the grassroots. That is so misused, overused, and they will just say it. And I will tell you what, as someone that's always worked on a grassroots level and has never been accepted by the establishment in the state of Georgia, conservative. You know, you get flyers in the mail. I'm the true conservative in Georgia. It's not possible. Excuse me. Sorry about that. It's not possible. You cannot have a state budget increase $10 billion in 4 years and call yourself a conservative. Not possible. But, you know, a conservative Republican, just send that in the mail. Just send that in the mail. And then political consultants said, I'll tell you what, you're running for office, send out a flyer that says conservative American first Republican. That'll do it. Well, the same thing has happened with the word grassroots. And the reason I say that, because I want to get into some things that the governor has put forth and some legislation that I want you to look at. You cannot, very firm, you cannot support Josh McKoon. Ready? You cannot support the GOP, the Georgia GOP Inc. chairman, Josh McKoon, and say you don't support Brian Kemp. You can't do that. Can't do that. And I have names, and you have names. So if you support, and this is going to get some people very, very angry. In fact, some people might even put on an extra layer of red lipstick. If you support Josh McKoon, the GOP chair, you support Brian Kemp. Now, you can freak out all you want, but you do. You can't have it both ways. You've got to make a decision. If you're a GRA member, I get along with Alex Johnson. Alex Johnson at the GRA, I have probably had over the several years some of the best political debates. Because he knows I love political debate, and Alex Johnson loves political debate too. And I don't come on the air and tell you, but Alex Johnson and I, every once in a while, we just have that political debate, and I enjoy it. And we're always cordial to each other, and we never treat each other, you know, in a disrespectful way. Same thing with Catherine Bernard. I've had a lot of political debate with Catherine Bernard. But if you are a GRA member, you cannot support Josh McKoon without supporting Brian Kemp. Now, I'll go further into details. The bottom line, don't get mad at me. I'm not the chairman of the Georgia Republican Party that people are bragging about has unified and brought Brian Kemp back in the fold. Now, I'm not saying it's right or wrong. It's up to you. But you can't have it both ways. Now, I have some questions for you I want you to ponder over the weekend. You have homework. You got it? So give me number 51. And this is going to be one of those days where some people are going to think that I'm saying something negative about someone. And I'm not. I'm going to leave it up to you to decide. Number 51, Kemp unveils sweeping legal overhaul aimed at curbing rising insurance costs in Georgia. Tort reform, called tort reform. All right? So now this was a political stunt. That's number 51. Right? Number 55. This is an example I want to show you. Boy, Diane, I tell you what, I got to get rid of this. I'm going to have to get me some honey and whiskey. No, easy, easy. Oh, Lord. They're going to be out there. BKP is done going to drinking. Now, look at this. You see this right here? That's a political stunt. This is what the Capitol looks like when everyone gets the memo. You get out here, okay? And you get your staff out here immediately for a photo op, or don't even think about me signing a piece of legislation from you. So this is a political stunt. That's the bottom line. All right. Show of force. The AJC's in on it, right? Show of force. The AJC absolutely loves the Republic. One more time. I'm going to get it this time. The AJC absolutely loves and supports the Democrat wing of the Republican Party. Bam! I got it that time, Diane. Yes, they love it. They will support these Democrats all the way. Now you know why they threw me out of the Republican Party in Georgia. But that's what you call show of force for all the talk about tort reform being thorny issue. It sure didn't feel like it on Thursday. No, it didn't feel like it on Thursday because Governor Kemp told John Burns and the lieutenant governor, you get everyone out here and you get the staff, or I won't sign a damn one of your bills. Well, that's the way it works here in Georgia. I don't know about your state, but that's the way it works in Georgia. So a show of force. It sure didn't feel like it. Governor Brian Kemp unveils his highly anticipated proposal aimed at limiting large jury awards in what has been one of the largest Capitol news conferences in recent memory. What a stunt! And hey, I tell you what, you can't beat those one-liners in the AJC. The largest Capitol news conference. One of. Wow. And it sure didn't feel like it in a show of force. Now, the homework you have is I have a question for you. Why is Kemp doing this? Because I have told you this over and over. Number 51. Now, don't get fooled by a headline. Kemp unveils sweeping legal overhaul aimed at curbing rising insurance costs in Georgia. That sounds good. I think that's something I can get on board with, right? Sure sounds good. Governor Kemp on Thursday unveiled a long-promised overhaul for the Georgia legal system that he pledged would rein in rising insurance rates by curbing jury awards and limiting certain lawsuits. Years in the making. Now, I have a question for you. Well, I want to say this. If you don't trust these people on Monday, how can you ask them for a hamburger on Tuesday that you'll pay them on Friday? Did anyone understand that? Did you? Huh? So let me clear that up. If you don't trust them on Monday, how can you trust them on Thursday or the following Monday or the weekend when you bump into them? How do you ever trust them? Right? Now, this is the same group of people that have not grown the party. This is the same group of people that stuck a knife in the back of the Georgia Republican Party. This is the same group of people where Brian Kemp absolutely hated David Schaefer. I don't like David Schaefer. Let me just get that out on the plate. I don't like David Schaefer. He's a phony baloney, but that doesn't mean I like Brian Kemp. So anyhow, how do you these are the same people stuck the knife in the back of the Georgia Republican Party. Same people, right? These are the same people who gave out all the tax credits down there in Hyundai. These are the same people setting up $250 million to solve the water problems down there around Savannah and Bryant County. And what's that other county down there where John Burns is from, the speaker for the Hyundai plant? Solve those water issues. These are the same people that are putting out $250 million of low interest loans for the water system in that area so Hyundai can get enough water. These are the same people that pulled the stunt for Rivian. These are the same people that have diminished Republican value and Republicans in the state, that we've lost 19 Republican state house seats and 5 Republican state Senate seats in just 5 years. These are the same people. Now, so the homework, and this is what I want from you. And don't come back Monday without your homework. Don't come back. Just don't even tune in. You can't come back. I want you guys to really look this over because you're getting ready to get it. You're getting ready. We'll see. Now, number 49. I can't stand political stunts. You and I know it. You and I know it. Number 49. There are 35 states have tort reform and have placed a cap on non-economic damages. These caps range from $250,000 to $2,350,000 with a medium cap of $465,000. Only 8 states have placed a cap on total economic damages. But there's 35 states that have some sort of tort reform. Why does Kemp want this? Who does it really benefit? And why now? And why is the AJC painting it like the largest press conference and the greatest? You can talk to a lawmaker. Man, this is big. Okay, so something to think about. Now, give me number this. We're going to stay in the AJC. $56. Contrasting priorities. State Senator Billy Hickman, Republican from Statesboro, opened his tenure as chair of the Senate Education and Youth Committee on Thursday by declaring 2 priorities: school safety and literacy. All right. But the first measure the committee voted on was SB 1, which would ban transgender athletes from competing against women in high school and college sports in Georgia. Now, before you start to cheer, this is a political stunt. All right? Before you start to cheer, this is a political stunt. Now, give me number 50. Georgia takes first step towards banning transgender athletes from competing against women. Georgia Republicans on Thursday took their first step towards banning transgender athletes from competing against women, a measure partly in response to the 2022 NCAA National Swimming Championship held at Georgia Tech. Leah Thomas, a transgender woman, won the national title in the 500-meter during competition while sharing a locker room with female athletes. The event ended up launching the advocacy career of Riley Gaines, who at the time was a swimmer at the University of Kentucky and has since been the face of conservative efforts to curtail transgender sports. Now, I can hear the applause to this political stunt through the camera. I can hear the applause to this political stunt. So what are you saying, BKP? You're okay with boys putting on a one piece and growing their hair out and swimming with the girls? No, I never said that. I never said that. All right? I'm going to show you in a minute. Give me number 57. This is straight out of the AJC also. That apparent discord prompted grumbling from some LGBTQ allies in the audience and some Democrats on the committee. He hoped, comments saying the Democrat, he hoped to be talking about school safety and literacy during the first committee meeting as a senator. Unfortunately, we're here discussing this, he said, but Republicans don't view the committee's vote as out of sync with its priorities. State Senator Greg Dolezal, a Republican from Cumming, sees the bill foremost as a safety issue. Now, wait a minute. He pointed to the case of Peyton McNabb. I know this story very well. A North Carolina high school volleyball player who suffered a concussion and neck injury after getting hit in the head with a volleyball by a transgender athlete. When I weigh three things, I put safety first, fairness second, and inclusion third, Dolezal said. I don't want to have the next Peyton McNabb be here in the state of Georgia. Okay. All right. So this is the political stunt that they play in Georgia. All right. I mean, what's his name? Will Wade, this loser as a House of Representative member over here in the 8th District. This Will Wade, remember the 6-page, no meat whatsoever parents' rights bill? Remember a couple of years ago, it became popular to say parents' rights. So they put a little 6-page bill that said, you parents have rights. We do not want men, biological men, to participate with biological women under the guise of being a woman. We don't want that. Got it. But what I don't want is this piece of legislation based on sports. I don't want it based on sports. I want to see a piece of legislation that identifies two genders. I want a piece of legislation that says not only can they not participate in sports, they can't sit next to your child in the 6th grade. That's what I want to see. I want to see a piece of legislation that says if a child feels they are living in the wrong body, they need to seek psychiatric help and not sit next to your child in row 3 in the 3rd grade. That's what I want to see. I want to see the legislation that says schools have to Here's the lie they'll tell you. Well, we have all that. No, we don't. No, we don't. They keep masking this corrupt stuff under mental health. They've got this rainbow called mental health, gender dysphoria, mental health. Why we need to work with these children. I want to see legislation with this, not a stunt, that says the parents have the rights. I want to see legislation with this that says that parents cannot lose their rights if they don't support the child's decision to do something. When parents go out and the child wants to climb across something that's unsafe for them, and the parent stops them and pulls them back, no matter how bad they're kicking and screaming, you can't walk up and say, well, you didn't support your child in what they wanted to do. Period. I don't care. Bottom line, I want to see legislation that protects the parents. I want to see legislation that says our tax money will not go at any time to facilitate transitioning sexual changes, cutting them off, transplanting, whatever, inserting, all the above. You got to go to the mental hospital for that. I feel like I'm in the wrong body. Gotcha, man. Gotcha. I know exactly where you need to be. We're going to transport your ass right now. Don't worry. Little white truck's going to pull up. 2 men, white suits. They're going to take you away because we don't want the kids that are trying to learn, read, literacy, actually what education should be about. We don't want you in the way. So this is a political stunt, all right? Give me number 50. This is absolutely a political stunt, period. And, you know, someone needs to tell Greg Dolezal this is a political stunt. Needs to tell the lieutenant governor this is a political stunt. Now, I want to show you something else before we wrap up for the weekend, because I've got 1 or 2 more things concerning Georgia. I want to show you something. Now, I received this. Someone sent this to me, number 52. And this may be unfair to Greg Dolezal. But you know what fair is, right? I learned it long ago. Fair is a place you take a pig to win a blue ribbon. So this may be unfair to State Senator Dolezal, but I received this the other day, or yesterday I received this. Committees are where most of the real work happens in the Senate, and Forsyth County will have a voice on some of the key committees in the Senate, including transportation, appropriations, finance, education and youth, assignments, right? Is that what it says? And the rules. Many thanks to Lieutenant Governor Burt Jones for these assignments, recognizing the importance of Forsyth County being represented in these committees. State Senator Greg Dolezal. Now, I don't think the guy is a bad guy, but let me tell you what my eyes see when this comes out. So, transportation chairman? Wow, that's pretty big. Appropriations vice chairman? That's large. See, if you are chairman or vice chairman, you actually get the power to hear things in your committee. You could have a list of 10 things and you can only hear 3 in the committee. You get to decide what's on the committee calendar. Interesting. Transportation, appropriations, special committee on investigations, vice chair, Appropriation Subcommittee, Transportation, Chairman. Rules, he's a member. Assignments, he's a member. Regulated Industries and Utilities, he's a member. He's ex officiado on finance, meaning he was the chairman last year. Judiciary, he's ex officiado. He was the chairman last year. Education and Youth, he was the chairman last year. Appropriations and Redistricting, he was the chairman last year. So if you were the chairman last year, you're still on the committee, just you're past chair. Now, let me tell you what this says to me. That this guy can't get in the Capitol, out of the Capitol. He can't get to the parking lot in the car, get home, or to his apartment without seeing a slew, we'll use the word slew, of lobbyists. This guy has lobbyists with him basically probably 24/7. Lobbyist. That's one. The second thing I see, if you learn, this is where they make the money. Oh, yes, they make the money. This is where they get to charge you, the state, every single, as chair. Okay. Now, you know, someone's going to argue with me, but you can look it up. As chair and vice chair and former chair, I think you get X amount of money for every meeting and to chair those committees. So if you look at state representative or state senator in Georgia, it's not a full-time job, not supposed to be, and you make $17,500 or $18,500, and you get a little gas money to go back and forth and a little money for an apartment if you bump into the right lobbyist that has a nice apartment that he'd like to rent you at a reasonable rate. He or she, got to get the pronouns correct. But all that being said, I mean, you end up with 22 grand, all right, for 90 days. But now if you get these kind of assignments, start racking off, you get all these assignments, you get a different check for everyone. You get travel for everyone. You get different expenses for everyone. This is where, I know they don't like to say this, but this is where you can make a little extra. This is where you can get a little extra money down there at the Capitol. So just saying, when I got that yesterday, just saying, I thought to myself, wow, that's interesting. You know what that says to me? So moving right along, I have two more things. So I'm going to talk to some people because I have several things. I had it here a minute ago. I thought I had. There's one. Come on, tell me I got a second one. Well, maybe I don't. Where in the heck is the second one? Well, maybe, yeah, here it is. Okay, so the State Board of Elections. And someone called me last night, and I love having conversations with patriots. And a patriot called me last night because they had comments concerning the show. Go ahead and take that down. All right. They had comments concerning the show. A patriot called me, and I absolutely love when you call me, you text me. I love when you have the answer. I really do. I love when you have the answer. It makes my day. So this individual said, Democrats have a bill out there to restore the Secretary of State as the chair of the state election board. Now, why? There's a couple things here. And I know Democrats have a bill, and Democrats will use bills that they don't have the majority. It's like 33, is it 33, 23 Republicans in the Senate? There's 56, right? 33 Republicans, 23 Democrats. So they don't have the majority over on this side of the aisle. There's 100 Republicans and 80 Democrats over here in Georgia. So they don't have the majority over here. But they have negotiating power. And what Democrats will do in Georgia is they will float out a bill that's going nowhere, just to have negotiating power on another bill and to send some signals. So signals start going off, some lights start flashing. So there's a bill out there where Democrats are wanting to restore the Secretary of State as the chairman, right, on the state election board. It's not going anywhere. But lights are flashing on this bill. And let me tell you why. So this person that called me last night said, you know, Democrats have a bill to restore the Secretary of State as the chair of the state election board. But I talked to someone and they told me it's going nowhere. It's not going anywhere. And I said, no, it's not going anywhere. But it is got some underlying meaning to it. There's a signal that's being sent. And this person had it down pat. I love that. So God bless you. Thank you very much. And we talked about that in the conversation. So currently, our Georgia State Election Board, we took the powers away from Brad Raffensperger. So why would Democrats want to reinstall the Secretary of State as the chair? Now pay attention to this. You know it's not going anywhere. But why would Democrats want to reinstate the Secretary of State as the chair of the Board of Elections if they don't support Brad Raffensperger? Why? He's a Republican. Why would you want to put him in charge? Or if they don't have a plan, right, to win that office in 2026. Maybe Democrats think they can put up a candidate and win the Secretary of State's office in 2026. Because I'll tell you this, if Gabriel Sterling becomes the nominee for Republicans for Secretary of State, Republicans all across the state will not go vote for him. And that Democrats would stand a chance to win that seat. Now, not going out there on the limb too far, but don't forget that. Now, I've been talking about election integrity for years. We call it election integrity. And I'm a little concerned because we have Georgia is the land that has grown into this big election integrity grifters, okay? And so it concerns me, some people, what they say and what they're doing. Now, I want to remind you, in what short time we have, I want to remind you that Donald Trump, since elected, since inaugurated, since oath of office, has said at least 3 times, if not more, that elections have been rigged, and Democrats really know how to cheat. Now, in Georgia, they want you to believe everything's fine. We're going to put a patch on the machines, pull the QR code off, patch on the machines, update them. I mean, everything is fine. Here's the other side. We didn't need the rules. You out there, patriots, you out there drove for hours across this state to go to the state election board meeting. You held up signs. I talked about it yesterday. 3 meetings in a row. You passed rules. The minute you passed rules, the Secretary of State, Brad Raffensperger, Gabriel Sterling, the court, the chair of the state election board, the rules were not necessary. Then go read for yourself. They shot down all the rule changes. Every rule that the grassroots tried to put in place last year. David Cross wanting tracking, simple tracking on absentee ballots. We don't want to mail a ballot to the apartment project and have 19 of them with the same address or going to the same post box at a one of those mail stores or an empty vacant lot. We just want, you want an absentee ballot? Sign for it. That's it. Some kind of tracking. Every single rule. We wanted a rule that said all you have to do on election night per precinct was take the ballots out of the box. We put them in, folks. You know how it is. They go in, they fall in a box. Yeah, take the ballots out of a box, put them on a table, 10 in a spot, count them out, then run the tape, right? I call it the register tape, ring out. Remember years ago, if you ever ran a register back in the old days, you would ring out your machine, right? You pull the tape. Tape says you've got 933 ballots, and the paper, you have 933 pieces of paper. We asked to match up right there at the precinct, not count who voted for whom or who or whatever, right? Everything got knocked down. Then immediately after the election, there was articles out there. These rules were not necessary. They were proven not to be necessary, proving that the rules, no need for them. All this fighting, why do we even need the rules? Everything's working, right? Now, I have said on this show over and over and over, we have to complete the separation of our state board of elections. We have to complete the separation. Got to. Meaning we've got to get the budget where they have their own counsel, they have their own staff, they have their own website, they can do their own investigations, they have the authority to appoint election monitors report to them. List goes on. But instead, what they're trying to do is scratch the power back from the State Board of Elections. Now, I want to bring up just two pieces before I quit here today. This is something no one's talking about. They talk about a boy diving in the pool with a girl. Number 59. Garvro? Is that what it's called? You guys know it out there better than I do. I've heard many of you talk about it. Internet voting. GAVREO, election supervisors in Georgia's counties, that's the group, want to study internet voting for Georgians who live overseas and serving in the military. All right? Internet voting has been rejected as unacceptable, insecure by DHS, DOD, CISA, FBI, NIST, Senate Committee on Intelligence. But, right, they want to study internet voting. They want ranked choice voting. You already have ranked choice voting for our military in Georgia. They want to study internet voting. Oh, no, I don't see anything could go wrong with that. Now, I brought this up. That's Dr. Jan Johnston, State Board of Elections. I brought this one up yesterday, number 31. She had a meeting at the Secretary of State's office. Unbelievably outrageous. I brought this up 2 days ago. It's the 31st. This was 2 days ago. I arrived at a meeting at the Secretary of State's office last Friday and found the AJC reporter and Deputy Secretary of State Jordan Fuchs. Now, that's Mark Nisi, right? And Mark Nisi has been dispatched from the AJC to cover everything your host, every article you find on your host from the investigation from the Secretary of State has come from Mark Nisi at the AJC. All right. Secretary of State Jordan Fuchs sitting in the door of the meeting. Reporter Mark Nisi, according to his own account, was invited by someone from the Secretary of State's office to witness the 1-hour meeting just in case it became contentious so he could report the news. Nisi's been invited, and folks, before I got a ruling, before I received a ruling and my attorney received a ruling, Mark Nisi received it from the court first. I don't want to say from the court. He received it before my attorney or myself. Everything that happens where I'm concerned, Nisi seems to get it first before me or my attorney. Now, I want to close with this, number 27. Number 27, these are the dates. I brought this up. We'll talk about it Monday. All right. Key convention dates: 22nd, 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 April 26th, and June 6th and 7th. You cannot support, if you don't support Brian Kemp, you can't support Josh McKoon. You can't separate that. Period. I say this because I don't want to come out with anything ugly. I don't want to use bad language. I don't want to sound vindictive. Nothing at all. Josh McKoon, I'll look you right in the camera. Josh McKoon is a bad man. He's a bad guy. Absolutely. And I'm going to tell you something. In 2026, if you want to save MAGA, you can't save MAGA listening to Debbie Dooley. You can't save MAGA listening to Sally Grubbs. You can't save MAGA listening to Candace Taylor. You can't save MAGA, the list goes on, listening to the Marxist. You can't save MAGA that way. This is the only way you're going to save MAGA. Because before the election, Marty Kemp and Brian Kemp, actually, before the election, there was hate. And after the election, it continues. So I'll close with this. You go to the weekend. Brian Kemp and Marty Kemp hate Donald J. Trump, my opinion. Don't you love when I bring it around? Now, watch this. Watch this. Watch this. You may soil your underoos on this one. Before the election, Brian Kemp and Marty Kemp did not like Donald J. Trump. After the election, Laken Riley Act, no Brian Kemp. Brian Kemp and Marty Kemp do not like Donald J. Trump. Going forward, 2026, Donald Trump will never be on the Georgia ballot again. And they know it. Diane, I hate to do this because I do love these people. 55. That's not for Donald Trump. You see, Brian Kemp sent the message out. I know he did. I feel positive he did. And Brian Kemp said, for all the talk about the show of force, see that? The show of force, for all the talk about tort reform being a thorny issue, it sure didn't feel like one Thursday. No, because see everyone surrounding Brian Kemp? See it? Look at it. Look at it. I know you don't want to. Don't look away. Brian Kemp unveiled a highly anticipated proposal aimed at limiting large juries. What has been one of the largest capital news conferences in recent memory? Brian Kemp said, you get out here, you get your staff out here, and you stand behind me. You can't support Josh McKoon and support Brian Kemp. And if you think Brian Kemp, and you look at this stairwell, and you look at that balcony, okay, and you think Brian Kemp, and they don't have a play to end MAGA, and you think John Fredericks, the Godzilla bullshit's going to pull his bus in here, and all of a sudden the Debbie Doolittle and the Narcissist and Sally Grubbs, oh, I can go on and on. You see, they support Josh. Josh supports this, not you. All right, so it's 11 o'clock. Diane, you don't have to come on if you don't want to, but I need a little bit. Did any of that make sense? Or am I just out there?
No, it makes sense. It makes sense.
Okay. All right. Number 43. Let's close with this one. This is a Georgia police officer. This Georgia cop is out here broadcasting a message in Spanish to illegal aliens, especially telling them they are safe from ICE because her agency won't rat them out. Why in the world is she wearing a badge in Georgia? I'll see you Monday morning. Have a nice weekend, a beautiful weekend, a lovely weekend. I'm going to dinner with my lovely wife and my mom and family. And then I told you, didn't I tell you this week my mom's here? Right? And I have a haircut appointment Monday. I mean, it's all coming up. And it's not 5 degrees, not 12 inches of snow. Thank you out there, our technical department. We have people working on that right now. We thank you so much. The dragging, okay, when you go over to Rumble, the sound, the audio is perfect. So we know that the audio from the mic and the soundboard and what I'm sending Diane and what Diane is sending out. So our hosting company, we're working with them right now. We appreciate it. We're sorry I sound like Paul Bear. So it is. I better get out of here. I'll see you Monday morning, 8 a.m. God bless.